am doing the first videos about, well, Vikings to TV show thing. I'm going to slaughter it, most likely. I've watched it before, but it's a long time ago. I remember not being too impressed. But for your entertainment, I'm going to time-lapse record what I'm drawing on my iPad, which will be a tattoo thing for Ragnar Lothbrok's head. How I would have done it, how it could have looked actually, and what would be fun to do in a more modern version as well. So anyways, that's the plan. Here we go. No. So I'm watching it on Amazon Prime apparently. Why? Why is it only there? Oh, because they bought exclusive rights for it. So all begins with a blue-eyed man who is in fact a New Zealander, if I remember correctly. Lightning strikes a tree and some people swing some salt around in a ridiculous type of mock fighting. It's a wonderful death, sword skewering. That's very nice, I like that. But the way they fight is fucking stupid. I mean, none of this makes sense. Ridiculous swinging and theatricals. His brother Rollo is currently holding a seax this way. It makes sense if you're trying to hide your weapon, but they're on a battlefield trying to murder other people, so shortening your weapon? Why would you do that? Manly man, man on the screen, blood on face. They have won. They've killed a lot of people. Great shit. And some mumbling in Scandinavian languages. Well fought, brother mine, I think, was what was just said. It's weird. Ravens, eating things. Ragnar Lothbrok, giant axe. Really big axe. Or rather, really big axe blade. Unnecessarily big axe blade. And then, so this is where I wanted to get at. He sees Odin. Like a comic character walking with ravens on his shoulder. And a spear. Now the spear is good, nice detail. Very relevant. Because Odin was the king, and the spear is a king's weapon. Or the leader's weapon. And down comes some ephemeral Valkyries. Ragnar is clearly on some serious fucking drugs here. But I am annoyed by this scene. So annoyed that I'm going to pause it. Because it is like quite intense magic, visions and stuff like that. And it's really cool to throw mythology into it like this. I've wished I'd seen more of this in movies like Troy and similar, where the gods and the mythology does not get to play any part of the legends that they actually are. But then it goes away. Like, where, for the next many episodes, at least seasons, I think, there isn't any of this. No visions, no proper craziness. I want more of this. I want a TV show that has fucking trolls in it, Jotnars, trying to eat people and be angry and chaotic, and fire giants and shit. Why is this not happening? Before we move onwards, I will look at this. I did a little polishing of Travis Fimmel's head, removing his god-awfully weird fucking tattoos from the TV show. and I'm going to sketch some new ones, as mentioned, while I say angry shit about this. So apparently they've been fighting, I don't know, Vendals or something like that, or they might be in Russian territory. Everyone's dead around him are just looking quite placid and chilled out, which is strange. I love the choice of intro music. Now, let's see. What can we do? Sugar Ray, I believe this is called. The intro is really cool, I have to admit that. The logo, on the other hand, is really terrible. Why did they go for this like neo gnarly thing?
Misty.
I am confused.
Come on, let's go home.
Okay, so again, this mixture of languages. What the fuck is actually going on?
Watch.
I don't mind it, but why is it happening? It's cool that they use some Scandinavian, sure, but is it necessary? Who knows?
What are you two doing?
Taking Björn to the thing tomorrow.
Right. So while watching this episode of Vikings, the first episode, I did some sketching for head tattoos for Ragnar Lothbrok, because what he already has is weirdly mishmashy, and I'm not particularly impressed by it. So, I was contemplating doing 3 designs, and I was also contemplating doing something that was historically correct. But while I started sketching, I quickly realized that that was not particularly relevant to the show, since the show takes place around 790s, the raid of Lindisfarne and stuff like that. So the beginning of the Viking Age. And the styles that are present in the show are not from around that timeline, most of it. So I figured, who gives a shit? I'll just do what I want. So the raven I did is a Mammen-styled one, inspired by the Bamberg and Kamen caskets. There's some nice ravens there. I simply reshaped it and played around with it and made some density to make it suit the head. I would define it as a historically more correct design than the other one I did, simply for the fact that the handwriting that I used did exist. It's nice. If you want to use it for your own head, go for it. The other design I did, which was very enjoyable, is an angry fucking worm with a bunch of rune text behind it. Bear in mind, the runes is just gibberish. And they're not even from the same alphabet. I didn't have the mental capacity to sit down and write a text in old or young futag or anything. It's scribblings. And the worm itself is a mishmash of styles. But it was enjoyable to do. And in this case, it was what matters, because I did not particularly enjoy watching Vikings. Haha. That design as well, if you want to use that for your head, go for it. I just thought it would be fun to design something that would be like filling the face and taking up some space properly and attaching itself dynamically to the neck and, you know, have some form. And voila, this design came out of my hand. Yeah, enjoy.
We really can drink after we've satisfied our other needs.
So the show goes straight into rape.
I don't want to kill you, woman.
And Catherine Winnick
You couldn't
being
kill me if you tried for 100 years.
fucking hardcore. Now this fight, again, is oddly turn-based. Why is the second guy waiting around to attack? I've never understood movies that, like, if there's two of you, then for fuck's sakes, use your numbers. It makes the most sense.
Peter.
So the first raven that I'm kind of doing is based on one of the caskets. I think it might be the Kamen or the Bamberg. One of the two. I'll figure it out. But with modifications. So I would like to fit it nicely around Ragnar's head in a cool way instead of the cool weirdness he has in the TV show. I'm not going to be strictly adhering to historical designs, but I'm basing it on historical designs. So his uncle immediately tries to, like, get his nephew completely hammered and get him to sleep with a woman or some shit like that. Toxic masculinity at its worst. And for some reason, I'm not sure that it will be like the common practice. Let's just fuck up this kid and get him super drunk.
Great towns and cities.
I find it hard to buy into the concept that they would be cruel that way, unkind that way.
I believe there's a way to go west.
Yes. Ish. He's presenting this whole sunstone idea to his brother, who isn't really buying it. And I kind of like it.
Rises up into the sky until noon.
The detail I like here, he's explaining about the sunstone, and we know that they are real, they were used for navigation, as historical findings of them and everything, and mentions. So,
What if there is no sun? How can the board help you then?
I really like that Rollo is not an idiot. Like, we see Ragnar as this genius. He's come up with this thing, or says that he's been given it by the traveler thing.
Follow me outside.
And you almost expect Rollo to be a bit of a thickhead, but no. He easily follows the conversation about how to navigate the open sea. Quite cool.
There is a sun.
And he's not particularly disbelieving of anything. He's just healthily skeptical. And that I found to be quite cool. It's a good detail. Oh, and then they're wearing weird headbands for no apparent reason. This is 17 minutes in, and there's a guy crowing, some sort of scald, and everyone's laughing. I find that a little bit, I'm gonna pause it, crowing and mocking the whole concept of the rooster is a bit strange, because roosters in Nordic mythology are pretty damn important. When Ragnarok comes, roosters will crow in heaven and hell, and generally they foretell of potent things, including just the daily fucking sunrise. So I'm not sure that they would be used as like a weird mocky thing. I think they possess some sort of slightly sacred position similar to that of Odin's ravens. Considering that there's at least 2 named roosters in Nordic mythology, I think they hold some sort of importance. Anyways, let's get on with it. Gabriel Byrne walks in, which was weird. I was surprised by this because Gabriel Byrne once played
Olaf Englund. You have pleaded guilty to the charge of stealing.
the
Tomorrow
bad guy
you will run a gauntlet of stones and turf
in
as punishment.
Hamlet,
Thank you, Lord.
a movie that basically is the origins of Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Who
Nice detail that Bjorn is kind of pulled into it and he has to vote, thereby making him an authorized member of society.
How do you wish to die?
By beheading, Lord.
Your wish is granted. Should be executed tomorrow.
after which we shall feast and talk about the summer rains.
So, this is nothing that I have against the series, but just a thought on Nordic society and all these things, and how modern Vikings praise the Viking brutalism and the raids and all these amazing things. Vikings sought society and civilization, law and order. The first father god, Tivas, is a god of law, order, military power, control. His son, Forseti, who was apparently most likely also a king, possibly in Gotland, was known as a very, very good arbiter of disputes. So a great judge. And basically throughout Viking history, the goal is to create societies, conquer land, build towns, have jarls and kings, control, organization, farming, agriculture, everything that humanity started 11,000 years ago. That is what they are about. Sure, there's pillaging and plundering, but that chaotic aspect, that's just the military bit. Odin himself is a god of armies, leadership, and again, control. He's a warlord, organization, and all these things. As we can see in the show, most likely the local jarl, earls, would enforce these systems that were most likely copied from others, and might very well have taken its origins in like Frankish kings and stuff like that. And it has like migrated up north, and then added local customs and all of these things. Fuck it, it's not important. Thing is, the Vikings were a bunch of civilized capitalist cunts. You know, they're basically like modern. It's that Monty Python sketch, the pirates of the stock market in Wall Street kind of thing, that I don't remember the name of. Completely irrelevant. They wanted law and order. Now, the gods that comes before the Aesir and the Vanir tend to be a lot more chaotic. Those are the Jotnar. They're gods of fire, of the sea, of forests and nature. Sure, there's a few of the Aesir and Vanir that are like fertility based and nature based and stuff like that, but overall, a hell of a lot of agriculture, a hell of a lot of law and order in cities and society and safety. Thor is a chaotic motherfucker, and it's very interesting that Thor was about to become the father god before Christianity came stomping its way into Scandinavia. But it's food for thought for all of you Viking-y beings out there who really want Vikings to be chaotic warriors that run around and slaughter all the time. They weren't. They're just 1,000 years ago kind of people who would have, well, today they would be wearing a suit and stealing everyone's money through legislation instead. I'm just going to pause this for a second. Right, onwards. Okay, gauntlet running. Get pelted with things, take a beating. This actually happened. This was a tradition for a very long time. Ow. It gives everyone a good chance to partake and be mean and cruel if they want to, or just throw a mild stone if that's all they feel like, or a mild cabbage.
Why is he smiling, Father?
He wants to die well, without fear, to atone for his sins.
Okay, so the heading of Guy, right?
The only hope of reaching Valhalla.
Game of Thrones.
Feed him to your pigs,
Ooh.
and I
Unpleasant.
curse him. May he never enter Valhalla. May he never feast with the gods.
Now that's a sure way of not making friends. See why?
Why did he do that?
Why the fuck were you doing that?
Someone told me he wanted that land for himself. He knew Tryggvason had the best claim to it, but refused to sell it.
Okay, so there's no doubt that he's of course the bad guy in all of this, and this happens all the time in Nordic sagas. Power corrupts,
Olaf, son of Egolf,
and that
Johan,
is
son of Ragnar. May you accept this
something
gift
to be very aware of.
of salt.
And we also know that the arm ring tradition is quite true, quite spot on. It becomes like an extensive thing all of a sudden after people saw this. Arm rings was just something everyone wanted to buy to be more Viking. Oh, the pop culture-iness.
Let us feast. They're my ships. I pay for them, and they go where I tell them to go. Now that's the end of the matter.
This whole England being a mythic land that might be somewhere out west. It's quite certain that they were capable of knowing everything there was to know about the Anglo-Saxon lands, simply by following the coast along Denmark, down along what is now Germany and the Netherlands and so on. They would communicate with people living there and crossing from France, Frankia, to England. Not that difficult. The crazy journey that you can take from the North Sea, crossing from Denmark, Norway or Sweden and across. It's a dangerous one for sure, and much shorter than sailing along the coastlines, but this whole mythical England thing, it's a bit strange to me. I don't know why the fuck that's necessary to make it into this. No.
I'm waiting.
So this blind, mutated Gordy, priest of the gods. Really cool idea. I like him.
What do you want?
Very scary kind of
I
creature.
want to know what the gods have in store.
For you or for the boy?
I'm more interested in myself.
Realistic? Historically?
The gods desire you to have a great future. I see that.
Who will speak with this weird
Well, go and ask the gods yourself.
Nordic-y
What are you afraid
accent?
of?
It's the same in The Last Kingdom. A Swiss actor who speaks a little bit clipped. I don't know if they're trying to pretend
You haven't
to
asked me at
sound
all.
Scandi English or something like that, but it's not really working. And I'm a bit confused.
Ask the wrong questions.
Why not cast Scandinavian actors? I know they filmed far away in New Zealand a lot of the time. I'll get back to that because there's some really stupid shit about that. But yeah, let's explore that. I'll do that at the end of the episode.
It's like you found them.
So the Earl dreams of the death of his sons, which is, well, speaking as a father, the most terrifying fucking thing, but as a leader in Scandinavian Viking age, or Anglo-Saxon or Frankish or anything, the idea of
We have someone special.
dying yourself and not leaving anyone behind,
Like Loki, the god?
Yes.
that would suck.
Only
That would be the end of your lineage.
How is
And that
he
would be
different?
terrifying.
Not a god.
They're on their way through the fern
But
forest
he come
to
the
meet
thing?
Floki. That is an actual character name from Nordic history. Weird name, as the character is pretty weird.
Floki,
But
this is my son, Björn.
if I remember correctly,
Hello.
he was an actual shipbuilder. I'll look into that.
Thank you, sir.
Let me see.
So apparently, Floki just walks around and builds boats on his fucking own.
I joke about many things, son of Ragnar.
It's a lot of work to make a ship. It's a lot of work just to make a plank. So if a single person was to build
What about our boat?
a boat,
And an anchor.
mentions an anchor.
It's all I have left from my
As far as we know, they just used stones, big bloody stones with a lot of rope. So
Ride you like a bull, like a wild bull.
Had anyone ever written a bull at that time? Had anyone been that stupid? Who the fuck knows? So
Good night, my children.
it's nice that Lagertha just rules the household. Like, Bjorn has to go to bed. Ragnar disagrees. She doesn't give a shit. That is very much in tune with what we know of household traditions of the Viking Age.
Something in the news?
The woman held
What about the boat?
the key for the house. She could even divorce the husband if she was unsatisfied with him,
Did you trust Floki?
which is fair. So his brother goes to take a piss, and in that time, he decides to hit on his brother's wife.
Don't talk like that.
Aggressive and shitty. So let's make this clear. Ragnar goes to take a piss, and he sees a sign that makes him sure that he's doing the right thing. I am skeptical of Ragnar's sanity. Now, pretty boats, lots of good knot work and stuff like that. It's cool.
It's no need to say. I see it in your eyes. Beautiful.
But well, Floki is a Swedish actor, Skarsgård of others. So he actually speaks with a proper accent. It's nice. In retrospect, I don't know if this is entertaining enough for anyone. Mainly because the show is not entertaining enough for everyone. Anyone. Me. I don't know. So we have a farmer who goes raiding to the east in what they, for some reason, call Rusland. I think I heard that, which is weird because it's not named that at this time. It's just tribal Slavic territories. Probably lots of petty kings and shit like that. That most likely defines them as Swedes, because there was mainly the Swedish, the Svea, who went towards Russian territory. Do I have more coffee? I think I have more coffee. Pitiful, but enough to fuel my rage. Okay, back on track. Ragnar is hereby pronounced Swedish in my mind, because otherwise it makes little sense. They do mention that at some point they fought the Icelanders, the Icelandics. I don't remember if Iceland was properly colonized at this point, but fuck that. Let's pretend that they were. According to myths and sagas, Ragnar did fight Northlanders, like the far north-flung Finnish tribes, the Sami, and so on. Probably also the Icelanders, but if he's Swedish, I doubt why they would be fighting each other. They're not like coast to coast, and none of them have anything. Iceland was pretty void of valuables. Sweden might have some valuables, but the first place that you end up if you are an Icelandic Viking is Norway. Should we therefore place Ragnar in Norway? Who knows? Anyways, let's bring up a map. Let's see if I can find a map to put in here. Because Kattegat, I will put this up on my iPad while I talk. They in the show keep mentioning Kattegat. Now, Kattegat is, well, it's been a marine dead zone because shit fucked up. It is the water between Denmark and Sweden. To the north of us, we have Skagerrak. North of us, I say as if I'm in Denmark. Here's a map. Kattegat, Skagerrak, the North Sea. I think I'm over here, that way, as I speak. So, these assholes raided that direction into Russia. This and this was very much united in most things for a hell of a lot of the Viking Age. And then somewhere fuck all that way is Iceland, right? Thing is, they keep mentioning Kattegat. Kattegat, Kattegat, Kattegat. And then they sail in these fjords that has mountains, really, really big mountains. Now, if we zoom in a little bit on this map, up by Bohuslän, we do have a region that has like a fjordish kind of thing going on. It's very pretty up there. It's like right north of Göteborg. And it's where the Swedish lake, the Vänern in Danish, is connected to Skagerrak. There are no fucking mountains. Not a single proper fucking mountains. There's some cliffs and shit, but like on that show, really big fucking mountains. The kind that you can find in Scandinavia if you fuck all north of there. Like proper fucking north. If you sail onwards towards Oslo, you get near stuff that looks alike, but nothing as big and burly as those mountains. This is, of course, because they didn't film it in Scandinavia. They filmed this in New Zealand, but that's cool if you're doing Lord of the Rings, which they filmed in New Zealand, because that's all fantasy and shit. But when you sit as a Dane or a Swede or a Norwegian person or anyone else who's actually been to those waters, which is a lot of fucking people, and you keep saying Kattegat, 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 it's not there. They've just come up with this shit. So now we've broken with realism completely. That's all right. But the show does not admit this. It pretends to have some sort of correlation to truth and history, but completely fails at accomplishing that goal, which annoys the fuck out of me. Kattegat, by the way, let's have a look at the etymology of this. Kattegat, etymology. See, according to Wiktionary, from Dutch, kat means cat, same in Danish, and gat, which means hole or port. So that would be the idea that the Danish Straits lies at the bottom of present-day Kattegat, and it was so narrow that only a cat could squeeze through it. Or Kattegat in Danish would literally just mean the cat's asshole. Would it be unlike Northmen, Vikings and such to name a body of water the cat's asshole? I think not. That is my favorite theory. The cat's asshole. I don't know why Dutch have to be involved in this. But, oh, why, yeah. Like, fuck it. Now, next thing. Okay, the next part, costumes in this show. Now see, in the first episodes, the first season, these costumes, they stay sort of down to earth. It's a little much. A lot of black leather going on and stuff like that, but it's like, it's okay. I can stomach it. It's not correct. Those are like first level, second level Dungeons and Dragons characters, outfits, and later 5th level leather armors of rogues. It all becomes like black leather and cool. They're very good at grimy, they're very good at blood and gore and wear and tear. I like that, but historical correctness is fairly fucking absent in this. And it gets worse. First episode when they not the first episode, but like the first time in these episodes when they step foot in England, which is not England, because England is not England until Alfred has basically united the land and blah, 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 and it's still not England, happens later in life, later in history. They fight in a shield wall, and it's a good shield wall. It makes sense, it's well illustrated, it's a nice fight, and then for the rest of the fucking show, fuck all. It's just like hero fighting, no construction, no lines, no shield walls, no proper battle organization, which was one of the great fucking powers of the Vikings. They were organized, they were fierce, and they were fearsome. True, they would back off if there was a risk of losing too many men, because if you started losing too many of your men, 1, you'd be an unpopular leader, and 2, you wouldn't have enough men to keep conquering, and that was sort of the fucking point. And since you're far away from your homeland, it's difficult to just add more people to your fucking army, isn't it? It's not like you're going to start persuading Anglo-Saxon farmers to join your little crazy crews to gain land, is it? That would make zero sense. So they want to preserve what they have. So too big a risk, no fight. But when they do fight, they fight organized, systemized, and efficient until or unless it makes sense to go nuts and be fucking scary. And this whole thing about berserker warriors and all this, yeah, it makes sense. Some people would probably do mushrooms and run ahead of the army. It'd be fucking terrifying, and it would be to the advantage of the Scandinavian Norse leaders to have people that crazy, because it would scare the living shit out of the enemy that some frothing motherfucker with no shirt on and swinging a giant fucking axe would come running at them, cleaving shields and ignoring all cuts and wounds, because that would make them think that the rest of the fucking army behind him would be equally nuts. So, I don't see any of that in the show. Like, not properly. Grumble, 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 fuck. I'm unimpressed. I don't understand how this show became so fucking popular. Is it because it's the only thing? Like, is the market so thin that this is there and this is what everyone craves? They all want this fantasy Viking-y bullshit, and so they're buying into it, and that's just giving them a hard on. Feel free to answer that in the comments below. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to like the video and all these things. And fuck, I don't think I'm gonna do the second episode. It's not worth my time, really. I'd rather watch The Witcher again, which was equally shite, but at least the fighting was entertaining. Fuck off. Thank you for watching, and